it's me. Did you just call me? Hello, did you just call me? Oh, right, okay. Oh, good. Okay, that's fine. Yes, I've just gone live now.
Right, well, I'll go in and do to join Uncle Kenner here at the moment and just call in a bit for a meal with the local
Oh, right, okay.
friends.
Well, you've got 10 minutes or more.
Sorry?
10 minutes or more before I start.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Problem.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Okay, I can see you now. I'm having a bit of trouble remembering exactly what I did the last time. Sorry about that. I've got my cup of coffee here. Could somebody please tweet the URL, because Janet couldn't find it. Oh, she's here. Hi, Janet. Okay, well, I think I'm having a bit of trouble, Jean, switching windows. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I have to go back into Manycam and then come out again. It doesn't seem right. Okay, let's get started, shall we? I thought that you would like to see my new Timmy glass mat. How nice is that then? This is the, I don't know whether you can see it. This side is where the palette is, where I'm pointing to now. This is a mat that you can put over the top of it. Anyway, I'm going to take that off now. I just wanted you to see it. Hang on while I get it off the table. And now I shall show you, for Janet's benefit entirely, the biggest ruler in the world. How about that, Janet? Is that big enough for you? It's a Fiskars quilting ruler, and it has a nice cutting blade on it. Sorry, a rotary cutting blade. Okay, now we'll put that one away. We'll go back to, right. Those of you that were here the last time will remember that I had done some printed wooden blocks. That's one of them. These were printed with acrylic ink, and then let me see if I can I need to dull it down a bit. I can't see the controls now. They're printed with acrylic ink and then over dyed with Procyon dyes. And there was that one, and there was this one, which I did. This one, I wanted this to look a graphite colour, and then I I overstitched them, and I've got photographs of those to show you today. I seem to enlarge this. I've no idea what it is that I've set up wrongly with Minicam. This is a closer up view of the hand stitching on it. I did actually neaten all these edges off after I'd stuck it in the book. This was for the travelling book that is going around the entire membership of my Stitchers group. This one, this is the stitched version of the strawberry one. And this, I printed this onto some of my own hand-dyed pale green fabric and then hand stitched over the top of it. Thank you very much for your compliments. So those were the three that I had started, which you didn't see the stitching of, but they're now on their way. I can't show you them for real because they're now on their way around the group. The next one was you remember me talking about the rubber stamps that I couldn't find at the time. Well, I have now found them. This was a rubber stamp that Carol MacDonald carved for me, and I bought them from her. And she made this leaf stamp as well, which is double-sided. Okay, and this was one of the ones that I did myself, and it's also double-sided. And these were two others that I did on the circular disc of rubber. And that's another one. And the finished piece for that one, you can go back to it now. That was how the finished piece looked in the end. I stamped the tree and some of the leaf shapes around it. And this part here, this is all hand stitching. I've got more of a close-up of some of it. This is all hand stitched around here and hand stitched around the edge of the tree bark. This a piece of fabric that I printed on the printer with a gradient, and then I then over printed it with the text. Okay. Yes, you do make them in a similar way to you use the same type of tools. What's your name colouring down under? Can't keep calling you that. And then let's go back to I'm not doing very well today, I'm afraid. I had this all sorted out before I went online. I apologise for this. Just take a minute to say hi to everybody that's come in since we started. There, we're back again. Except that we haven't got the right minicam screen now. There we go. Oh dear. Now I can't see the chat again. Yeah, got it back. So, so that was that's just clearing up from the last time, which some of you had seen the start of, and not been able to see the finish because I lost the stamps for a while. Now, the next thing I wanted to show you was these are the Derwent Inktense paints. They come with their own little water brush and so on. You're meant to be able to take them outside to sketch with. But I did a test on paper, and I did the same test on fabric. And I think the colours are gorgeous. And of course, they can be mixed with each other. You get quite a range of colours. And that makes them really very easy to use. And if you then iron the fabric, it's because it's a dye, it's permanent. You would need to use soda ash treated fabric if it was something you were going to wash, but I don't think I would risk using them on anything that was going to have regular washing. I would only use it for artwork. Yes, I think, Jean, that would probably work, but I think that they've probably got a different medium in them to hold them together, a bit like your watercolor medium. Not sure about that. I don't know whether they'd tell us if we asked. Why would you want a white in there? You just leave the white paper if you want white. Yeah, I agree, Jean. It's worth it. It's definitely worth a go. They weren't all that expensive buying them from here because, of course, Derwent is in the UK. I can't remember the price, to be honest, but they weren't desperately expensive. Otherwise, I wouldn't have got them. Well, I wouldn't use white any time I was using any watercolors, unless I wanted to paint white on the top of a color. Then I might need it. So that was that. I wasn't sure if you'd seen them for yourself or whether this would be new to you, but they are a lovely range of colours. The other thing I promised to show you was my kingfisher. Janet painted a gorgeous kingfisher recently, and I said at the time that long time ago I did one in watercolor, and this is mine. It's quite a different technique to the way it was Janet, wasn't it, who did a lovely watercolor, or was it Debbie? No, it was Debbie, I think. But because mine is the way I do it is with a very dry brush, the effect is totally different from hers, and I wish I could do it the way she paints and the way Jean can paint, but I just can't manage the really wet watercolors. I should try more, I think. So, has anybody got any questions that haven't been answered either by somebody else or by me? But it's hard to keep a check on the chat. Okay, right. Well, I'll carry on, and if you think of something you want to ask, do so. Now, the main thing I wanted to show, and why I wanted Janet to be here, particularly apart from teasing her with the ruler, was to show you some of my calligraphy. But first of all, I'll show you some examples of other people's work, which I think are truly beautiful. You won't be able to see the whole thing because it's rather large, but it's the way. Let me see if I can zoom out a bit. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, Carol, the stitching, a lot of it is simply running stitches. Certainly those leaves were, and there was some others. There was some fly stitch on the tree one, but apart from that, it was mostly running stitches. But what I like about this is not only the real calligraphy, but the all the scrolls and so on, and the whole texture of the thing. Here's another piece. That was actually done for the, as you see, for the Queen's Jubilee. Now here's another one that shows you how you can get texture in calligraphy by changing the directions and, sorry, now what have I done? Oh dear, I'm getting myself in a muddle here. This beautiful scroll work here. It's actually very easy to do with a dip pen, much easier than it is with a paintbrush. But all by using different sizes, different orientations, and you can just produce such gorgeous texture. And the final one of those is this one. This one was done by it doesn't say. I can't see it's on here. Anyway, this was another textury piece. It's the words are from a poem called "The Land" by Victoria Sackville West. It's a great English gardener and writer. So Janet, these were all the work. This is all the work of other people. Just showing you what can be achieved, and then I'll show you some of my pathetic efforts. And mine are done in traditional, with a traditional calligraphy dip pen. This is a beautiful ebony one that was made for me by a friend. And it's beautiful to hold. It's it just goes in the right place for me. It goes thin where it's going to go over that bone there. But, my friend Rodney, who actually does this for a living, did this one. So those are the ones by the experts. And here is a start piece of some of my work, where I was just trying words, you know, just trying it all out. As you can see, well, I don't know whether you can see, I don't use a top line. I write on a line, but I don't use a top line, because one of my tutors said doing it that way is like trying to dance in a room with the ceiling too low. And I always thought that was an excellent way to put it. So, when I decide what height I want it, you make little marks. Say I wanted that to be 5 high, you would make little marks with your broad nib pen, and that would give you the height that you want it, the final letters to be. Sorry, I'm off the screen. Make little marks with the dip pen to get yourself the right height. And in traditional calligraphy, there are rules about the heights and so on of the lettering. This one is a piece of mine. It's this was what I said. Eileen mentioned bees today, and I said that there would be bees on my screen. Well, here it is. This is brown Canson paper, and I did the lettering with gouache, but with my trusty dip pen. It's a broad nibbed pen. I've got one out ready to show you. Sorry, I picked two up together. That's why I can't show you properly. Can you see that? But Janet, the other day you were worried that you would something you were doing wasn't level, or wasn't even. But I was trying to explain that I thought that you could use it to your advantage if you deliberately wriggle the lines. So that's that piece. Now, this is one that was that I was trying to lay out. This was testing it all out. This was all about all craftsmen share a knowledge. They have held reality down, fluttering on a bench, cut wood to their own purposes, compelled the growth of pattern with the patient shuttle, drained acres to a trench. Control is theirs. They have ignored the subtle release spirit from the jail of shape. And I was trying to lay out a header for it. I don't know whether I don't think I ever finished it actually, but my idea was to make the background look like wood and have all your tools over it. So yeah, that was that. And then the final one I want to show you is what I wanted to do was take a piece, I wanted to create the effect of having a sheaf, a handful of letters and throwing them down on a page. But it doesn't work. You've got to have some organisation to it. And this is the rough for the piece that I was working on. These were done with gold ink, and these were, I think these were gouache again, but they were done with the dip pen. And here and then I was beginning to do this on real calfskin vellum, which is what this is. You never get a good edge to a piece. It's just as the shape comes. But can you see? This is real gold now, and it's laid down over gesso, which you handmade. That's why I got my mullet and plate originally, to make gesso. And the colour, you put the colour in so as you can see where you've laid it. It's traditionally you use a colour called army. See how after all these years, how glittery the gold still is. But it's real gold. You can also get shell gold, so called because you get a little pellet of gold in a shell, and you use that with a paintbrush, and that's lovely to use too. Yes, you can, Janet, you can actually get it out to some extent, but you do have to do it when you're in a cool, calm mood and not loads of people hanging over your shoulder while you're trying to do it. I love using real gold. I don't think I've got any more calligraphy to show you. I'm not going to attempt to demonstrate how I do it. As I said, you really, well, you need to practice for an hour before you start when you haven't done it for a while. And also it's quite difficult to do it with people watching you. Percola, you buy the real gold. Well, in the UK, there's a company that I get it from, but it's just gold leaf, and it comes interleaved with tissue paper, and you need to. The trick to lifting it up, there's a special sort of fairly blunt knife that you use to cut little pieces with. And the trick is to wipe a brush down the side of your nose where it's usually a little bit greasy, and that will enable you to pick it up. And I've got a leather, a suede block, padded block with three sides sheltering it from any draft, and it makes it really very easy to pick up. And you then lay it down on top of the gesso with the brush, and then use the beautiful agate tools to smooth it down. There are more modern ways of doing it. You can achieve a pretty good effect by not using these traditional techniques. But I'm hoping sometime Janet will show us how she would do it with more modern techniques, which I haven't really practiced. Thanks everyone for the nice comments. Yes, you do have to have patience, Jean, but you've got incredible patience when you're doing your watercolors. It's no different really, just a different technique, just a different technique you've got to get used to. So that's that. Oh, and going back to this, you see these little elements here in here and here and here. These are all traditional motifs taken from illuminated manuscripts, and I shall be putting those in the gaps in the big one. I really would like to get that finished sometime. I'm sure I can still do it if I put my mind to it. Better do it before my hands give up entirely. So, yes, they do look a bit like some of the small designs Dee Dee was doing. But Dee Dee's got this lovely free way of doing her work. And I've never been able to be that free. I'm not very good at abstract. I can make myself do it, as I did with that tree bit of stitching. That's purely abstract. It's based on somebody else's work, but it's hopefully very different from hers. Hi, Debbie. You came in too late. Does anybody want to see anything again? We've got plenty of time. I was just going to show you one final piece of stitching, which is this. This is something you'll see it's got gold on it. This isn't gold leaf. This is gold transfer paper. I put a circle of Bondaweb down, and then just ironed the transfer gold onto the top of the Bondaweb, and it only sticks where you've got the Bondaweb. So, and then this here was I made this stamp out of squares of foam, children's foam, and then overstitched it with gold and held it down with a little red dot in the middle. But I'm in the process of trying to decide how to mount that, because hopefully it will be going in the Guild exhibition. And this board, I can't get a board the right size because I didn't plan to do this way when I started. But I was planning on covering a board with this fabric. And stitch it. I'll probably put it down with matte medium. So this again was a piece of fabric that I dyed myself. Debbie, this is one of the pieces I just showed that I think you missed coming in. This was the rough for a piece of work that I wanted to originally I wanted to make it look as if I'd taken a handful of letters and just thrown them down, but that doesn't work. It just looks a mess. So they have to be aligned in some way. And I did, I think, draw a few lines on it initially and then rub them out. This one is just done with gold ink, but I'm in the process of doing it on vellum with real gold. This is real calfskin vellum, not vellum paper. Yes, they do have to be readable. You're right. And I also explained that these little motifs are taken from traditional illuminated manuscripts. And they're there to fill in the spaces and make little spots of interest, really. The other piece of mine that I showed was this one. It's on brown Canson paper. I think it's a pastel paper, isn't it? And I used gouache with a traditional dip pen, this sort of dip pen with a broad nib. Okay. Thanks, Pacola. So I don't think I have anything else for you today. Yes, you could, Debbie. Oh, the other thing I did, I showed them was, you remember I said I'd show you a kingfisher that I painted, which I did a long time ago, 1974, in watercolors, and mine's a sort of dry technique. But with very tiny brushes, totally different from the way you did it. But I loved the way you did yours. I can't master that wet technique. I really need to practice. So any more questions? I'll try and look at the thanks, Joan. A butterfly mind, I think, describes me better. Thanks, Jean. Who's streaming next? Have we decided yet? I think, Janet, you said you were going to try today, didn't you? Yes, I'll try and set that up, Jean. I'll try and do. I haven't decided yet. It'll be. It won't be next week. Possibly the week after. Oh, hi, Carol. I didn't see you coming in. Carol McPhee is one of my friends from another group called the Artful Dodgers, which is another private group. Is anybody else from the group here, Carol? Have I missed them? So sorry, Carol. I was everything got in a bit of a muddle at the beginning, and I still haven't. I'm still not using my Minicam the way that I meant to. I can actually have a picture inserted into the corner here, and for some reason I've lost the ability to do it. I don't know what. I don't know what caused me to do that. If you look in the background, you can see some more of my paintings. That's one by my niece Moira, and that's an embroidery, and behind my head is another of Moira's paintings. I've completely lost it today. I'll tell you, it must be the hot weather that's got to my head. Click the camera icon. You mean in the Minicam screen, Jean? Thanks, Debbie. She's really very good. I couldn't persuade her to come today. I was trying to get her to come. I missed what time Janet said she was going to stream, and I can't now find it. Hi, Sophia. Sophia, if you've just joined us, I have just been through it all again, so you'll have to watch the recording once it goes up. It'll take a little while to get up there, as you know. The chat keeps on jumping. I don't know why. Oh, thanks, Carol, for that. Oh, 1 o'clock Eastern. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's about 6 o'clock VST for the Brits. Sorry, Sophia. I'll wait to see your reaction when you have time to look at the recording. I know you're very busy. Right, so bye, Darla. Bye, everybody. I think we'll call it a day there, and we'll see a proper stream from Janet later. She's much more organised than I am. Bye, everybody. You're very welcome, everyone. Thank you. Sophia, that's 6 your time. 1 o'clock Eastern is 6 our time. So I can go and get my tea. I missed lunch. It's all your fault I missed lunch. Right, I shall end the stream now.